Do you ever find yourself doom scrolling through LinkedIn, seeing another competitor's huge announcement or record breaking quarter, and suddenly your own perfectly good achievements feel a little bit beige? That delightful cocktail of admiration, envy, and a sudden urge to either give up or buy a flashier plant for your desk, that's my signal. That's my signal. That's my signal to know that that professional comparison, that's a trap. And it's not just stealing your joy, it's probably sabotaging your success. Hey there, welcome to the Sunday Spark, where we ditch those Sunday scaries and ignite some serious inspiration before the work week. I'm Faye Chappell, your semi-sassy guide and the founder of the Regeneration Company, and I'm here to help you crush burnout, brainstorm big ideas, and remember that success should actually feel good. So grab your coffee, strap in, and let's spark some insight. So welcome. Welcome, high achievers. Welcome, any achievers, to Sunday Spark. I'm Faye Chappell, and I'm your reality check guide here. And today we're dragging a sneaky saboteur into the spotlight. Stop staring at their highlight reel. How comparison actually kills your competitive edge, and how you can actually use envy productively. So let's be real. In the business world, a little awareness of the competition is healthy, right? But when does market research morph into morbid obsession, right? With everyone else's wins, right? Leaving you feeling like you're perpetually playing catch up from the kids' table. Who wants to be at the kids' table? I know I don't. So let's dissect it. Let's think about why your brain is practically wired to compare and how the digital world throws gasoline on that fire. And the brutal truth about how constantly measuring yourself against others actually dulls your unique value proposition, makes you reactive, not strategic. We want to know how to pivot from compare and despair to really analyze and strategize, right? Even using that twinge of envy as a productive kick in the pants. So let's talk about that and talk about some actionable tips today to make sure that you're focused in your own lane. And I want you to focus on your customers and build your brand or career that's authentic, unapologetically you. So, if you're ready to stop letting your curated successes dictate your strategy and really start leveraging your unique edge, fantastic. Let's get started, okay? If you're an entrepreneur, then the pressure to keep up with the Joneses can be immense. You see a competitor launch something flashy and you panic and you say, oh my God, I should do that too, right? I remember I had a client, and let's call him Panicked Pete. So Pete ran a boutique marketing agency, and every time that his main competitor launched a new service or they posted a glowing client testimonial, Pete would spiral. He tried to emulate them, offering similar services, mimicking their messaging, right? And then his own agency started to feel like really a watered down version of the other guy and his team. And that was you were constantly scrambling, and so was Pete. That's the feeling, right? Result was really burnout. He had confused clients, he had stagnant growth, right? So contrast that with one of my other clients, Sarah. Sarah was much more strategic. Sarah also ran a marketing agency. She watched her competitors, of course, but instead of copying, she asked, what are they doing well that really resonates with a market need? What are gaps that they're not filling that my unique skills might actually be able to fill? So how can I actually double down on what makes my agency distinct and valuable rather than just being a little slightly different flavor of the month, right? So Sarah used the competitive awareness not to feel inadequate, but to really sharpen her own differentiation. She focused on a niche, right? A niche that actually the other competitors ignored. And so she built a fiercely loyal client base around it, right? So every time you see something that's great, you want to do it, make sure that you say, okay, I can do it, but what's my take on it? What's my proposition? What aren't they doing, right? Their highlight reel is not your playback, right? What works for them is based on their strengths, their audience, their journeys. So blindly copying is a recipe for, I'm not going to say disaster, it's more like mediocrity, right? When you think about differentiating yourself or really disappearing, right? Comparison can make you blend in, but true competitive edge comes from clearly defining and boldly communicating your unique value proposition, right? What problem do you solve for whom in a way that no one else does, right? And use envy as a data point or a data point, depending on where you're listening from, not a dictator, right? That twinge of, I wish I had client, product, I wish I had the PR, that can be a clue. Instead of wallowing in it, ask yourself, what underlying desire or what goal does this envy point to for my business, right? How can I achieve a similar outcome in my authentic way? So, that's for my entrepreneur friends. What about my corporate insights for that, let's call it the internal hunger game versus the collective genius? So now, if you're climbing that corporate ladder, and a lot of you are, I know I used to, comparison doesn't just happen with external competitors, right? Because it's often really rife within your organization. Who got the promotion? Whose project is getting all the buzz? Who has the ear of the boss, right? That internal hunger games can really be toxic. There was a department in a large tech company that I was working with where internal competition was so fierce that people were actually they were practically hoarding information, and they were subtly sabotaging colleagues just so they could look better, right? Team morale was really low. Innovation was literally non-existent because no one wanted to share a good idea, right? And the overall productivity on those collaborative projects suffered immensely, right? They were all so busy trying to outshine each other that the actual work, the collective work, failed. So, a new department came in, new department head, and she made a conscious effort to shift the focus. That's where we came in. That's why she hired me. So, with her, we decided to make sure that she would have shared goals and celebrate those in a collaborative point of view, right? So the emphasis was placed on really the team achievements, not the individual heroics. She had very clearly defined roles, and she understood the unique contributions. So she helped individuals understand their unique strengths and how they contributed to the team's success. So it reduced that need to clone somebody else's success, right? So each person was unique. And then there was cross-functional or show and tells. So she created platforms for people to share their work and their expertise in a supportive environment. And she wanted to really foster appreciation for the diverse skills rather than cutthroat comparison, right? Then the shift wasn't overnight, believe me, but gradually collaboration improved. Innovative ideas started to surface, and the department became known for its positive culture and strong results. One person can make a difference. So, if you are a corporate climber or a leader, then here's some lessons for you. I want you to really focus on your own scorecard. What are your KPIs? What skills are you trying to develop? What unique value do you bring to your role and the team? So trying to be a second-rate version of the office superstar is really a losing game. So what makes you unique? Champion collaboration over internal competition, right? So true A players, they make the whole team better. If you're a leader, foster an environment where diverse talents are celebrated and people feel safe to contribute their unique best, right? Learn from, don't just envy high performers. Instead of secretly seething at the colleague's success and saying, oh, they're just well liked, oh, there's something else going on. No, just observe. What skills, what habits, what approaches do they contribute to their achievements? And can you adapt any of those authentically to your own development? And then finally, let's look at a bit about personal development, right? Let's take a little bit of a deep dive. And we want to really think about staying in your own genius zone, right? Ultimately, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're a corporate warrior, sidestepping the comparison trap comes down to really robust personal development, right? That's really, really important. Your career is your journey, not a race against everyone else's perceived progress, right? Constantly looking over your shoulder doesn't make you anxious. It pulls you out of your genius zone, right? That sweet spot where your unique talents, your passions, your experiences, they intersect to create a really maximum impact. That's what we want to do. And we want to fortify your defenses, right? We want to fortify. So really understand, know your non-negotiables and your unique value. So I want you to get crystal clear on what you stand for, what your core strengths are, and what makes your contribution unique. And I want you to write it down. So whenever comparison creeps in, you can revisit this. And is what you're envying, is it really even aligned with your core values and your definition of success? Or is it just you think somebody's doing well, I should do the same, even if it doesn't really sit well with you? Because often it doesn't. And I want you to really curate your inputs. Be ruthless about what information you consume. So if a certain industry guru or competitor their feeds when you're looking at them always leave you feeling inadequate, then just mute them. Turn them off. Follow people who inspire authentic action in your direction, not just envy, okay? So here's your productive envy protocol. Here we go. Think about this. When envy strikes, and it will, I guarantee you it still does with me. Don't just stew. Number one, acknowledge it and say, I'm okay. I feel envious of X, but I'm okay. Number two, analyze it. What specifically about X am I envying, right? The recognition, the skill, the freedom. What is it that I'm envying? Number three, action it for yourself. So think about, how can I work towards a version of that outcome that aligns with my goals and my strengths? What's one small step that I can take? Okay? So this is a really great tool. There's a couple of tools to really help your mindset. We do a lot of this in our Sunday morning club, but My Lane Anchor is one of them, and this is a super simple one. So whenever you feel yourself drifting into comparison, literally I want you to visualize a lane, like a swimming lane or a running track that is yours, and it's perfectly designed for you. I want you to take a deep breath, and if you can do 4-4-4-4 box breathing, this is awesome. And then I want you to mentally say to yourself, this is my lane, this is my pace, this is my race. And that will give you a quick mental reset to really bring your focus back to your own game in your own lane, okay? If you do get envious, if you do get anxious, I want you to really think about focusing, giving your mind some fuel, right? Because brain needs good fuel to avoid comparison spirals. So again, focus fuel, trail mix, something that can make your brain feel good and make you continue to move in the right direction. So trail mix is great, handful of walnuts or almonds, dark chocolate, dried cranberries, anything you think, but a small handful can be a healthier way to really deal with a moment of stress than continuing to scroll. So remember, stop, take a breath, do some box breathing. Understand you're going to stay in your lane, give yourself some mental fuel, and then continue along, right? Oscar Wilde said, be yourself, everyone else is taken. That's a really great line, right? It is so simple, it's almost annoying, right? Especially when being yourself feels like you're, I don't know, bringing a kazoo to a symphony orchestra of, everyone else is a virtuoso and you're sitting there with your kazoo. But here's the unique thing. The world doesn't need another echo. It needs your unique voice, your specific brand of genius. Trying to be a cover band for someone else's success is exhausting, and let's be honest, the royalties really suck. So there's no point in trying to copy someone else. So you're armed with these insights. Let's make them useful. Your mission, should you choose to accept it this week, is to pick one of these actions I'm going to give you to move forward. So there's, I'm going to give you 5, I think, and you can pick at least one. So number 1, define your UVP, right? Or revisit it. So spend 20 minutes this week articulating what makes you or your business uniquely valuable. Write it down, stick it where you can see it each and every day. Number 2, curate your feed challenge, right? Unfollow or mute 3 accounts that consistently trigger the compare and despair feeling, right? Replace them with 3 that genuinely inspire you or educate you. 3, I want you to practice my lane anchor. Catch yourself comparing to someone else. Stop, use that box breath and that my lane mantra, right? Make sure you understand that my lane, and I want you to notice that shift. 4, the productive envy protocol, right? So next time envy hits, I want you to run through it with the acknowledge, analyze, action model. We did this. So acknowledge it, analyze why you're envious, and then create an action to see where it fits in your path. And then number 5, share your strategy. What's one way you can keep your eyes on the prize? Share it. Share it with us on social, share it with friends, share it with colleagues, but share that you are looking at things differently, that you're using your competitive edge and you're not worried about what other people are doing, okay? Because this is an ongoing challenge for all of us, and it's really important that you see it. And it's important that you acknowledge it, and it's important that you move forward. So if this episode sparked something for you, I would really appreciate you rating, reviewing, sharing. That would be amazing. Help spread the word that success doesn't require losing your sanity to really comparison games, right? And remember, their highlight reel is just that, a reel. So focus on directing your own blockbuster, right? I'm Faye Chappell. Thanks for sparking with me, and I will see you next week. Well, you've just had your Sunday spark. How's that for a power-packed start to the week? If you're ready for more tips, laughs, and let's get real moments, be sure to subscribe and share this podcast with all of your friends and your crew. Got questions, insights, or just want to say hey? Well, head over to my website, fayechappell.com, or any of the social media feeds, and I will be with you there. Until next time, keep that spark alive, and remember, your best life doesn't just happen, you have to create it.